All right, let's talk about the beetroot. You know, that super colorful, kind of earthy vegetable? But what if I told you there's a way to unlock its hidden power, to turn it into a true superfood? That's what we're digging into today, the amazing science of fermentation and how it is totally changing the game for this humble root.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with beetroot's hidden power, then get into a secret flaw that holds it back. From there, we'll see how fermentation comes to the rescue, check out the supercharged health benefits, and finally, see how all this science is moving from the lab right into our kitchens.
All right, so first up, what's actually inside this root that's got scientists so excited? You know, it's way more than just its incredible color.
So it really boils down to this incredible trio of compounds. First up, you've got betalains. These aren't just what give beets that amazing color, they're seriously potent antioxidants. Then you have phenolic compounds. Think of these as tiny bodyguards for your cells. And the big one, dietary nitrates. Beetroot is absolutely packed with them, and they are so important for a healthy heart.
Okay, but here's the catch, and it's a big one. Just because beetroot has all these amazing things doesn't mean our bodies can actually use them. There's this secret flaw, this kind of bottleneck that stops the beetroot from really living up to its full potential.
And this is where you can really see the problem, right? The gap between the potential and the reality. Those gorgeous betalains, they're super fragile. A little heat, the wrong pH, and poof, they're gone. And the phenolic compounds, they're literally locked away inside the plant's cell walls, making them super hard for our bodies to get to. And the nitrates, they're just sitting there. They're completely inert until some very specific bacteria in our mouths get them going.
Get a load of this number, 0.13%. That's it. In some studies, that is the tiny, tiny fraction of these beneficial betalains that actually makes it through our digestive system. It's shockingly low, right? This is what scientists call the bioavailability problem. It doesn't matter what's in the food if our bodies can't actually absorb it.
So, what's the fix? How do we solve this puzzle? Well, the answer is actually an ancient one: fermentation. I love this idea of it being like hiring an army of microscopic chefs to perfectly prep the beetroot for us before we even eat it. So what even is fermentation? You know, at its heart, it's just a process where tiny microorganisms, think bacteria and yeast, go to work transforming food. And in the process, they don't just preserve it or create new flavors, they actually enhance its nutritional value. They're basically pre-digesting it for us, unlocking all the good stuff.
Okay, so how exactly does this magic work on beetroot? Well, it's this awesome three-step process. First, the good bacteria get to work and produce acid. This lowers the pH to this perfect little sweet spot, right around 3.5 to 4.5, where those delicate betalains are safe and stable. It's like a protective acid shield. At the same time, these microbes are releasing special enzymes that act like tiny little keys or molecular scissors that break down the tough plant cell walls. And that action is what finally frees those trapped phenolic compounds, turning them into a form our bodies can easily absorb.
And what's cool is there's more than one way to get this done. You've got your traditional lactic acid fermentation, which is driven by bacteria like lactobacillus. That's what gives you that clean, tangy flavor you get in things like sauerkraut. But then you've got kombucha fermentation, which uses a whole party of microbes called a SCOBY. It's a bit more complex, and that's where that sweet, sour, slightly fizzy taste comes from. Both paths get you there. They both unlock the beetroot. They just take slightly different roads.
Okay, so after all that work by the microbes, what's the payoff? What are these supercharged benefits we keep talking about? Well, let me tell you, the results are pretty darn amazing.
Let's kick things off with antioxidant power. Just look at this chart. It tells the story perfectly. Fermentation doesn't just protect the antioxidants, it massively boosts the beetroot's total power to fight off damage. I mean, the ability to neutralize those harmful free radicals can jump way up, with some studies showing inhibition rates climbing as high as 79%. It's not just saving what's there, it's making the whole thing stronger.
And it gets even cooler. The benefits go deeper than just the food itself. These new compounds in fermented beetroot actually talk to our body's own defense systems. They help flip on something called the NRF2 pathway. You can think of that as your body's master antioxidant shield. And at the exact same time, they help dial down the NF-kappa-B pathway, which is kind of like your body's main inflammation alarm. So it's this incredible 1-2 punch. It brings its own antioxidants to the party and tells your body to ramp up its own defenses.
Right, and we absolutely can't forget about those nitrates. This is where it gets really interesting, this partnership between us and our microbes. The whole thing starts with bacteria in our mouths. They take the nitrate from the beetroot and convert it into nitrite. From there, our body turns it into nitric oxide. And why do we care? Because nitric oxide is a super powerful vasodilator. That's a fancy way of saying it helps our blood vessels relax and open up, and that can lead to all sorts of great stuff, like lower blood pressure and just better heart health all around.
Okay, but here's a really important reality check. We have to be responsible with the science. You've probably seen headlines about beetroot and cancer. And yeah, in the lab, some beetroot compounds have shown they can slow cancer cell growth. But, and this is a big but, the researchers are super clear that there's a huge gap between lab results and real life in humans. As the quote says here, those claims are just premature and speculative right now. We're not there yet.
So with all this incredible science, the big question is, how is this actually showing up in the real world? Let's take a look at how fermented beetroot is making that jump from the lab straight to our lunchboxes.
And believe me, the innovation is already happening. We're talking about probiotic juices that are dairy-free, symbiotic yogurts where the beetroot's own fiber acts as a prebiotic to feed the good bacteria. People are even making beetroot wine that has an incredibly high phenolic content, and it's showing up in gluten-free snacks and even as a clean label ingredient in things like processed meats, where it adds color and acts as a natural antioxidant instead of some chemical you can't pronounce.
But it's not all smooth sailing. Getting these products onto every supermarket shelf has some real challenges. For one, fermentation can be a bit unpredictable. That's tough when you're trying to make millions of identical products. Keeping everything stable on a shelf, the nutrients, the probiotics, is a huge challenge. And then, of course, there's us, the consumer. Let's be honest, that earthy beetroot flavor isn't for everyone, and getting people to try new fermented foods can be a tough sell.
So, when you put it all together, this whole story leaves us with a really fascinating thought. We've just seen how a community of microbes can take a pretty common vegetable and unlock this whole other level of nutritional power that was hidden inside it all along. It really makes you wonder, right? If fermentation can do all this for a beetroot, what other superfoods are out there, just waiting for us to unlock their secrets?